Hi, my name is Eric Brunner-Yang. Today we're sitting in Makeda, which is one of my flagship restaurants in Washington, D.C. And this place is a Taiwanese and Cambodian inspired restaurant. When people ask me what my style of cooking is, I always say I cook American food. What I love about being a chef in the Mid-Atlantic is that almost anything that you would think that would be grown overseas, like say Southeast Asia or Taiwan, can be grown in this region. Having those ingredients in this region really help kind of define that thread that we're talking about, like what is American cooking? And so having what people would perceive as Asian ingredients actually be grown by farmers here in the Mid-Atlantic is really special. Yeah, I've been a Kikkoman customer for over a decade now. And obviously, like the one I can speak to the most is the tamari. We made a conscious decision here specifically at Makeda to switch all of our soy sauce-based products to Kikkoman tamari. Southeast Asian cooking really lends itself to being gluten-free, and then just knowing that that was the only product that we had in-house to make that achievable has been a huge success for us. Today we're making a whole roasted duck with bao sauce and a bunch of different accompaniments. So over the last couple years I've been really obsessed with working on my Peking roast duck, but space-wise we just don't have the capability to do it. So we've been playing around with this version, kind of like half pea pie duck, and then using a roast duck technique. And I think we basically get like 85% Peking duck and then 15% classic roast duck, and I'm super happy with it. But what makes this really special is to get that color and that crispiness, you have to kind of bathe this duck in a tea that's almost like a really thinned out soy sauce based broth. We use Kikkoman products for basically the foundation of almost everything that we cook here. One of the ingredients that we use most thoroughly is the tamari, and it is really just how we start building all layers of flavor. And we really love the consistency and how clean the product is. So when you make the duck, step one will be to kind of clean it and spatchcock it, which means cut it in half butterfly style, and then we'll make a tea with the tamari and a bunch of spices. So I think like the idea of this recipe can be really daunting to someone because it's usually something you go to a restaurant, you're paying $90 for, and you're like, this has got to be really hard. What's really hard about the recipe is having the time and patience to let it take 3 or 4 days to be delicious, and then after that it's very simple. Bathe the duck in the tea, dry it off, and then you'll let it rest in the refrigerator for maybe 3 or 4 days. After that, you'll take it out, you'll roast it at a really high temperature for about 10 minutes, and then at a really low temperature for another 30 to 40 minutes. And then after that, you just let it rest in maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then put it back in the oven really, really hot, let's say like 500 degrees, 550 degrees for a couple minutes, and that'll get the skin really, really crispy. The bao sauce is really good. It's super simple. You take the Kikkoman hoisin sauce, mix it with sesame oil, Chinese 5-spice, chili oil, and just whip it all together, and that's it. We particularly like the Kikkoman hoisin sauce for its texture and mouthfeel. It's not too sweet, it has the right balance of umami, and it's actually, the paste itself is super smooth. And then sesame oil, it's not really great for cooking, but it's really great to finish a sauce. And we really like to add that extra note and gives it a nuttiness that's really delicious. When plating the whole roasted duck, what we typically do is we'll cut the breast off and then cut that into thin slices, and then we'll take all the skin off the body, hopefully in like one swoop, and then chop that up into these really nice crispy pieces. And then we remove all the meat off the duck leg and duck thigh. And then on a separate plate, you can do lettuce, herbs, pickles, and all these different accompaniments, and you can make these little delicious lettuce wraps with it. And then after that, all you have to do is make the bao sauce as your kind of dipping vessel. And here we have our whole roasted duck with bao sauce and its accompaniment.